Good evening and salutations, my Days of Alive fans. So, just wondering how I'm actually gonna do this. It's gonna be in an odd order, I know, but just try to stick with me for a minute. So let's talk about Grace and Rafe. So he pretty much kind of goes over the same questions, um, that more or less Eli was asking, since, she was the last person who saw Eli before what happened. He just wants to sit there and kind of make sure everything is the same. So he asked the same questions as far as, what she was there for, talking about Ray and how he's a changed person and yada, yada, yada. So with that being said, he's like, all right, fine. Um, Now Grace, when she leaves, she goes over Johnny's place. She wants to sit there and pick his brain as far as the movie and the role and everything like that goes. But here's the thing. Johnny tells Grace that, I'm glad that you're bringing on this energy and enthusiasm towards this project, and, I hope you get picked for the role. Now, Grace looks at that like, I'm sorry, what? And she tells Johnny that, yo, listen, I was kind of assured I was going to get this role by Ray, and Johnny's like, yo, listen, I have final say. So I don't know what in his mind made him think that, he could just sit there and book you and ask that without my say so. But yeah, that's not how that works. And he's like, what made him think that he can, what made him think that, he can do that? So he starts asking Grace, like, he starts asking Grace, like, what did you do as far as getting a role? Did you do anything that's like, scandalous? And she's like, no, I didn't really do that. But, like an idiot, she's like, well, um, I just told him that I would keep quiet about his past. But don't say anything because I really want this movie. You might want to actually be more concerned with your life at this point because you know his history. You know his history. You clearly want this movie way more than you were concerned about your safety or ethics or anything like that. So, I can understand why she is not really thinking about the danger part, but she tells Johnny, like, yo, listen, he has a pass. I can't really say what it is. Please don't ask me. So Johnny Ablo's like, all right, fine. Don't worry about it. You got the part. I look forward to working with you. Now, at this point, Johnny Ablo does what he usually does when he's by himself monologue like a DC villain. So he's sitting there looking at the painting of Stefano. He's like, listen, everyone has secrets, and I can't wait to find out what Ray is. What Ray's secret is where I can use it against him. Now, at this point, Allie just storms in. She is pissed. Um, I mean, I've said this countless times that I'm not exactly a fan of Allie. I'm not a fan of this relationship. I felt like it was just fast tracked because the sudden absence of Will and Sunny not really being representations as far as the LGBTS community, as far as that goes. So they just had to fast track this whole relationship and, kind of really damaging Allie's character more than I think it already is. Um, so yeah, they're hanging out, they're colluding and everything like that, kissing and everything, and Nicole walks in and Chanel leaves and, Allie talks about how, she's in a new relationship and her sexuality. And I'm going to be honest, when she started talking about her sexuality, I was like, listen, sweetheart, it's 2022. No one cares. No one cares about who you're dating, who you're seeing. We care about you as a person and you as a character. But I guess for the new people who are just joining, they got to sit there and explain her sexuality. And okay, fine. I guess that's important. Whatever. Like I said, I mean, for me personally, I don't judge people on their sexuality, their religion, their ethnicity, whatever. I judge you on who you are, what you bring to what you bring to the table. And as far as I'm concerned, I still don't like Allie. But after she goes through this long-winded explanation of all that, you know, um, they start talking about Trip because Nicole's like, all right, well, you don't think this is a little kind of fast, like this is a rebound or anything like that? I'm like, yeah, it's pretty fast, but the writers have their reasons, so what else? And she goes into details about she loves now, she cares about her, this, that, and the third. Now, the thing is, I think Nicole brings up the fact that does Trip know? Because it's better to come from you than somebody else. Of course, that's just way too late because Johnny told Trip about them being in a relationship and this, that, and third. So now he's already pissed off. I mean, granted, he was already pissed off at the fact that, which I don't really understand why too much. I mean, I get the fact that he did it in a very malicious way, but at the end of the day, he did more for you than Allie and Chanel did. He told you the truth. He might have did it in a very dickish way, but he told you the truth. Anyway, he's still upset about that, and that's when he finds out about them being in a relationship. So at some point of this episode, because Chanel wants to then see um, Lonnie at the hospital. Runs into Trip, and Trip is not happy. He is not happy. He's like, yo, you just lied to me. You've been lying to me this whole time. He's still just pissed off at her. And she's like, no, I didn't mean to hurt you, this, that, and the third. And, even there was one point he made about, when Chanel was there trying to tell Trip to, like, forgive her or something like that, or don't be so hard on her or something. I don't exactly remember what it was. But he was like, right then and there, you was lying to me. I was there for you. I was your friend when Johnny dumped you and made you look like an idiot, and I was there for you, and this is how you treat me. So he goes off on her. Hell, even when Chanel gets into the room to see Lonnie, he was like, you know what, listen, I got things to do. So he leaves. And Lonnie kind of looks at that whole thing like, what in the hell just, what was that about? But she's still kind of distracted by, Eli and him being in the hospital, which by the way, I mean, my man is on some vacay at this point. When they don't even actually bother to show his face, his head, or anything like that, they just show a body. This dude is just off somewhere having fun. Um, Not really much happened with Lonnie and Abe, at the hospital. Although she's just pretty broken up, and she feels like he may not wake up. She also cites that, Valerie leaving, is not a good sign because, she's a doctor. And if she felt like he was going to wake up, then, she would have been there. But I'm like, she also has work. And, she probably doesn't want to be fired. She knows how long these things can take. Maybe that's it also. So, she's just in an emotional tailspin, and, Abe is just there to sit there and try to help, like be emotional supportive for her. Now, Paulina is taking care of the twins. Ray comes over, and at first, Paulina's like, listen, I'm good. I want nothing to do with you. But, he comes over there with some baby supplies. The baby, the twin starts crying, so, he's there, and she's like, all right, fine, you can help. And, he does this whole, oh, I'm a changed man, I'm a different person, and I want you to sit there and, just give me another chance, this, that, and the third. When Abe walks in there, because Abe comes, to sit there and check on the twins, when Ray opened the door, he was like, I know this bleep and bleep is not just standing right in front of me. So you can just feel the temperature in the room just get drastically cold. Um, Abe says it simply like, "Yo, listen, I don't trust you. I don't like you, and I don't want you anywhere near her." And there's one point where Pauline Smith is talking to him, and she's like, "Well, it's none of your business," and I'm like, "All right, technically, she's not wrong. They're not together. Um, so who she chooses to spend time with is on her. It's not on him. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I would want to have any of my exes with someone who at one point either hit them or was just abusive to women in general. I would never want any of my exes to deal with that or be around someone like that, regardless of how long it's been, how, I'm always going to sit there and care about my exes and stuff like that. Um, I don't think I actually have an ex that I don't like, but even, let's just sit there and say, hypothetically, I did. I still wouldn't want them to be with somebody who has a history of hitting women. And that's where, Abe is coming from. He's like, yo, listen, at the end of the day, regardless, this guy's bad news. So he says his piece. Ray's like, oh, well, I'm a changed man, blah, 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 blah. And Abe is like, he says his piece and he leaves. Um, and of course, Ray tells Paulina, oh, Abe was just jealous. And I don't, now, this is just my personal opinion. Just me, it's my personal opinion. Even if you're someone that has changed and you don't do that stuff again and you only did it because of the stuff, it's still just a bad vibe. Like, I know some people could be like, well, it was so long ago and they don't do it anymore and they're a different person and I believe in them now. It's like, really? And I feel like that's just kind of like a permanent mark or permanent whatever on that person's soul, on that person's resume as a human being. And it's like, I feel like there are certain lines that you just don't cross. And when you cross them, no matter how much you can sit there and swear you're a different person, it just, there are too, there are too many men and women on this planet that you can be with other than being with someone who abuses their spouse. That alone should just be more than enough. Be like, you know what? I'm good. You're a changed person. That's great, but I'm not rocking with you. That's just something that I personally can't get over. And I find it very difficult to understand how people can. I know there's degrees of what you can forgive and can't forgive, but for me, that's just no, 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 no. Now, at some point, Rafe does come by and talks to Lonnie and says, I think that there's more to this case than just a simple drug deal gone wrong. Um, he just can't put his finger on it. So when he gets to Paulina and talks to Paulina and meets Ray, one of the new details that comes out is the fact that the guy who shot up with stuff wasn't a user. He only sold the stuff. He never actually used it. So, right then and there, when he said that, because, Paulina was like, oh, I hope they find that junkie and yada, yada, yada. And he was like, he's not a junkie. You could just see the look on Ray's face like, oh. And I gave him, this like, plan is starting to fall apart a little bit. But, I mean, Ray, being who he is, being a person who's been in the game for a while, I don't think that this is going to stop him. This is just more of a cautionary. We got to sit there and refigure this issue out so this way we could be good. Um, and people who've been doing stuff like that for a while, they don't get caught so easily, even if there is a bit of a hiccup in the road. I think that's about it. I think that's about it. I definitely like this episode better than yesterday's episode. Wasn't super great, but it wasn't really terrible either. The Lonnie Abe stuff was interesting. It's nice seeing her be vulnerable and just trying to decide what she's gonna do and between staying at the hospital, trying to be with her kids, feeling like she's being pulled in two different directions, trying to be strong, um, angry, mad, sad, all that. So, I actually did enjoy the scenes with, Lonnie and Abe. It's nice to then see that they are just so bonded together, regardless by blood or not. Um, Not exactly a fan of Chanel and Allie, but what else? Um, I'm looking forward to the day where Chanel realizes that Johnny wasn't himself, and what is she going to do moving forward. Um, like I said before, this whole Allie and Chanel thing is just one giant mess, but for some odd reasons, the writer seems like that it, for them it makes sense to do it. So, okay, what else? Anyway, I think that's about it. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.